these days there's a lot of talk about Armageddon gonna happen, the economy gonna collapse, and World War III gonna happen, and a lot of doom and gloom. Also, a lot of fear porn. But all of these people who are promoting all this they're pushing for something. I mean, they're not doing it for your benefit. They're not doing it to like inform you and make you a better informed person. Because we all know this is happening. They're just doing it to just make money, you know, to sell something to you or to get you into some kind of pump and dump scheme. So you have to watch out for all these fear porn promoters. Like you see people promoting stuff like silver, buy silver. It's gonna save you from a economic collapse, and um, buy cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. That's gonna like somehow save you from like a stock market crash and which will be followed by a major recession. And I pretty much doubt that. These are just elaborate pump and dump schemes, and the people who are promoting it give you a little bit of truth, facts on what is happening now. Like a lot of retail stores are closing down these days, and we see thousands of them closing down every year. Like they're in the thousands, right? So these people aren't are giving you it's kind of like a dose of fear, kind of like what Alex Jones used to do, but they're not offering you any kind of solutions, because buying silver isn't going to help you pay your bills if and when you lose your job. I mean, if a recession did come, and just like the recession back in 2008, the price of all assets fell, Gold went down, silver went down, platinum went down, real estate went down, the equities market went down, and just about everything went down in price. So what I'm saying is, the only thing you better have in a recession is cash, because a lot of people around this world and in the United States are heavily in debt, and there will always be more debt than there's money, because if you lend money to somebody, or if a bank lends money to somebody, that money is going to have interest tied to it, right? And that interest is compounding every year. So you're always going to have more debt than money. So people who are talking about hyperinflation going to happen and all this stuff are are wrong when it comes to recession. I mean, there is no hyperinflation in a recession. Everything just gets depressed, and people sell their assets, like their gold, silver, and stocks and stuff like that, to cover their expenses, right? Like servicing their debt, which is continuous, right? Let's say you have a 30-year mortgage on your house, for example. I mean, you have to pay that every month. If you failure to pay it for just 3 months will result in your house or your business being foreclosed and taken by the bank or the creditor, right? So it's none of these people are offering any solutions. I mean, think about it. I mean, if you buy their book, fear porn book or whatever, is that going to change your life? Is that going to help you pay your bills? Is it? No, it's not. You just made that guy richer by buying his book. The book is probably a very repetitive, talking about the same thing over and over and over again, like all these fear porn channels and websites are doing, right? You're just recycling the same thing over and over again. And pretty much everyone knows that the economy's headed towards a recession in some way. And when you lose your job, or if your business goes under, you know firsthand that things aren't good. So the only thing that'll get you through a recession is not having a lot of debt, having a lot of cash at hand. That'll get you through. And you hear some people saying that, well, where are you going to put your $50,000 in gold, or $50,000 in cash, and all this stuff? Well, for example, $50,000 in cash is not really a lot. I mean, there are people who have stacks of $1 bills, like 100 of them or 200, right? Can you put that somewhere in your house and hide it? Absolutely. And you can hide 500 $100 bills in your house. I'm sure you can. And $50,000 in gold, well, that's really not a lot. I mean, that's like 50,000. The current price of gold is about $1,300. That's about 38 ounces of gold. That's not a lot, That's about 2.4 pounds of gold. And there really isn't that much gold in this world. You can hide it easily. Or just leaving the money in the bank. I mean, what's the problem? I mean, you have regulations which prevent banks from stealing your money. Banks aren't going to steal your money. You have a bank account. Let's say you have $5,000 in your bank account. It's safe up to $250,000. It's covered by the FDIC. You don't have anything to worry about. And if the bank fails, the federal government will take it over and keep it solvent. They're not going to let the bank steal your money and run off with it. Just not going to happen. So you hear all these people selling this fear porn. Well, if you put your money in the bank, then the bank gonna steal it, or some other BS like that. Well, they're not gonna steal it. Your money will be in the bank, and they say, well, you're not gonna be able to get cash out of it. Well, that might be true, because you can only take out a certain amount of cash every day using an ATM from a bank. Let's say like $300 a day from your ATM, right? But does that really matter? I mean, most of the people use credit cards and debit cards to pay their bills, right? And a lot of young people, like Generation Xers like me and millennials, we pay our taxes electronically, right? If we want to deposit a check, we do that electronically as well, or it's done by direct deposit. So there really isn't any need for having physical cash. But if you want to get physical cash, it's possible. And there, people are saying that, well, you need to buy guns and ammo and all these supplies and whatever. Well, if you really think about it, let's say you lose your job and you don't have any liquid assets like cash or gold or whatever, or stocks, and you can't raise the money or the capital to pay your bills, pay your mortgage. What do you think's going to happen? Well, the bank's just going to take your house if you don't make payments for 3 months. They're going to call the bailiff or sheriff, and They're going to leave a notice on your door, and they're going to tell you to vacate your home within like a certain amount of time. And if you don't, they're going to come in, throw you out of your house. And where are you going to put all your supplies? Your guns, your ammo, and all this. And a lot of Americans also have like debt, like vehicle debt. You know, they borrowed money to buy a car or truck, SUV, or whatever. And if you can't make payments on that, then the repo man gonna take it from you, right? So what are you gonna do? Your car gets taken. You get thrown out of your house because you can't make payments because you lost your job. The repo man takes your car, and it's not that hard for them to take modern cars these days. There's a chip in it. You know, they could track that car down very easily and repossess it. You know, you could go to you'd be going into a McDonald's or something, and my car's gone. You know what I mean? So it's not like let's say you had your car stuff in the car. Well, your car's impounded. It's gone. Or let's say you lost your car before you got kicked out of your house. So where are you going to put all your stuff? I mean, when the sheriff comes to your house, they're going to throw all the stuff out of the house, right? So then, let's say you had a year's worth of food or whatever, water, and like medical supplies for your collapse, fear. I mean, what are you going to do? Put all that in a shopping cart and go to Skid Row or something? I mean, these are the things you got to think about, like practical things. Like, how am I going to make a living if I lose my job, right? That's the stuff you got to think about. Not about this fear porn about the economy will totally collapse, so I'm going to be elated from all my debts. There's no guarantee that the economy is going to totally collapse into the point of Mad Max or post-apocalyptia, right? There's no guarantee. But one thing is certain. If you don't make your payments on your mortgage, or if you don't pay your rent, you'll simply be evicted and thrown out. That we know, right? That's like reality, right? It's like, and reality is not very pleasant, we humans have a need to believe in something, like these collapse cultists. They believe that the economy is going to collapse. Everything's going to be SHTF. So I don't have to worry about my future. I don't have to, try to do something to improve my life. Whatever that is, you could, some people might have a hobby they might like making furniture or something, or they might be craftsmen and do stuff like that, or other people might like computers and they might like learning about programming and programming devices and learning about Arduino and all this other stuff. And other people might have a passion about learning about history and making content about it, like on social media website like YouTube or whatever, and various things. Or other people might be interested in buying and selling things on eBay and Craigslist or Amazon or whatever. They might like to be entrepreneurial in some way. But those are real things that you could actually benefit from. Like some people might like music, they might write music and people might like it, and they could make a lot of money that way. Or other people, they probably like video games, and they play video games and post it on the internet, and or they know how to make like simple video games by programming it and stuff like that, and sell their stuff. That's good. I mean, you're doing something to improve your life, right? Like listening to all this fear porn and saying that I don't have to care about anything. World's gonna end like in a couple of weeks or next year or whatever. You'll never know. Thinking about that is counterproductive, and that's just plain stupid. It's just not worth it. You got to do something something practical. If you have a lot of time, I'm sure you can go to the if you have internet, you could learn about computer programming. I mean, you have a computer, right? A desktop computer, a laptop. There's plenty of free resources on the internet that you can use to learn it, and you can make something out of nothing, right? Or let's say you're good with your hands, right? You could learn about craftsmanship and carpentry or whatever, and make stuff that people would want, right? And you have the internet, and you could sell it there, right? Like eBay or whatever. Or you could make your own website, or you could hire somebody to make a website for you, and you can make money that way. So the point is, don't buy all this hype about like people saying that everything's just bad and everything's just stacked against me. I can't do anything about it. That's just nonsense. You can do something about it, and you don't have to go into debt. I mean, that's your choice, right? You going into debt, that's choice that you just made for yourself, or you made for yourself, right? So, and I'm sure a lot of people who have a lot of debt have a lot of anxieties. That's why they listen to these fear porn channels, right? It kind of like gives them an escape from reality, kind of like how people take drugs or become alcoholics. They want to escape from the reality, which is unpleasant, because reality is usually unpleasant. Let's say I just recently graduated from high school, and I have like $80,000 in student loan debt. On top of that, I have like $20,000 in credit card debts and other debts. I mean, that would mean that I would feel a lot of anxiety if I was put into that kind of situation, And a lot of people would too, and they want to find answers to these solutions. And then the answers they're seeking aren't really answers. It's just a fantasy. People want to live in a world of make-believe, right? And those things aren't going to provide any solutions for you. No solutions at all. Did Alex Jones offer any solutions? Do any of these fear porn channels offer any solutions? Any tangible solutions? They don't. And with the internet, you have a lot more opportunities than, let's say, someone who was living in the 1980s or 1990s. We had a lot less opportunity to, make money, Back in the 80s or 70s, the only people who would get a voice on the media would be major broadcasters like CBS, NBC, KCET, or whatever local channels that you had, right? And it probably cost millions of dollars to have such a platform, right? You had to have all these you have to have a lot of assets, right? Like a television station and stuff, and all the equipment that goes with it. But now you could just go on YouTube and, post whatever you like, and if people like it, you can monetize it if you meet this prerequisites for it. So the point is, don't listen to the people who are just out there trying to sell you something. Like, it's like a hustle for these people. They're there to help themselves, not you. Okay? Thanks for watching.